Eagles. Eagles.
Welcome in, everybody, to a July 3rd edition, a Thursday edition of Birds 365 here on JAKIB Sports. I'm your host, Zander Krause. That's my co-host, Johnny Mac, John McMullen. This is our last show of the week as we head into the 4th of July weekend. I hope everybody has a fantastic weekend on with their families or alone or working or whatever you guys have going on. I hope you enjoyed the holiday. Johnny Mac, how you doing on this Thursday morning, brother?
Doing as well as can be, I guess. I'm like dreading the holiday weekend because it seems to only amp up my responsibilities. Never amps down. Funny,
you're not going curmudgeon on 4th of
I'm
July.
going curmudgeon.
J-Mac.
I'm going curmudgeon. I'm like one of those people that has to go to work to get some rest. That's my life. That's my lot in life.
I hear you. You got to be able to find something to smile about tomorrow, though, John. No? Are you telling me that? Wait a second. Are you telling me you'd rather sit here and talk to my dumbass than have your feet kicked up on 4th of July?
Well, I'm telling you, my preferred option is not available.
Yeah,
that would actually make that smile come true. But the lesser of two evils. Not that you're an evil, Zander.
The lesser of two evils. Oh, man, that's funny. All right, well, we got a 4th of July weekend. I hope everybody has a great weekend. All right, we'll have no show tomorrow, so this will be our final show of the week. But it's been a good week, Johnny Mac. We got plenty still to talk about here. And we'll close it out strong with a little football Thursday edition of the show to wrap up the week strong. Anything come together on your honey-do list? You got any? You have any? Are you still like the Eagles? I mean, are you left out for dry? When you get off this show, is it going to be a list delivered to you of things that
I have a list. Part of the
list is starting to come together.
Yeah, well, and it really exploded today, which I still have to work and do Eagle stuff and training camp previews. So part of it's my own problem because I get anxiety over that stuff, which is probably I shouldn't, but it's a lot of work. And then you got to figure out when you do everything else, how it works. You're involved in this. People assume if you're not working 9 to 5, oh, you can do this, you can do that. It doesn't necessarily work that way. So anyway, but nobody wants to hear about that.
Well, all good. There we go, Johnny Mac. Let's get into our topic that we've been kind of going along with. You and Eddie Kratz are working over on the Sports Illustrated, speaking of the other work that you do. And you guys have been doing top 25 Eagles. We've been following it along here on Birds 365. It's been a pretty good list so far, John. Also, I was reviewing who we have. We're down to number 12 today. We'll reveal number 12 for everybody. But I'm looking at the from 13 to 25, and I'll read them off for everybody. But before I read them, I don't know how many of them I would change, John, me personally. I think maybe I'd have bumped Reed above Nolan because I think Reed's more established. And I probably would have bumped Goddard over who we're going to have today. But outside of that, I don't see many other places I'd bump. So this is a pretty strong list by you two.
Yeah, I think it helps when you get more than one person involved and you do it independently, and then it comes a little bit clearer. Like I said, number 11, which will leave people hanging over the holiday weekend. That's the one I have a problem with personally. I would have put them significantly higher on the list. But again, part of that is you just mentioned you would have put Dallas over who we're going to name today. And I get that because he's got more demonstrated performance. Same thing with Reed and Nolan Smith. More, he's been doing it longer. So you can have these little arguments, but it's close. I think most people would say Nolan has the bigger upside at his particular position, which I think is correct. Yep. And this is an ascending player we're going to name right now, and that's the Eagles starting center, Cam Jurgens at
There you go.
number 12.
There you go. So Cam comes in at number 12, Johnny Mac. Not bad, man. It's good. It's a good spot for Cam.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about how it went, there's an old adage in sports that you never want to be the guy to replace the legend. You want to be the guy to replace the guy who replaced the legend, which kind of how I started my story.
Right.
Jurgens. And Cam's like, I'll do it. Didn't phase him at all. I mean, you think about what Jason Kelsey, not only as a football player, 6-time All-Pro, future Hall of Famer, but meant to this city as a person, and his popularity exploding. He's more popular now than he was when he's playing. That's daunting to take over for somebody like that.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, it's never bothered Cam all that much. He did when he made the Pro Bowl. I remember he was talking to us, and by the way, he made the Pro Bowl in his first year as the starting center. Not that that's the be all end all, but it tells you already the respect somewhat he has around the league. And he said, early in the season, all I got were questions about replacing Kelsey. And then at some point, it just stopped. And that, better than anything, defines how well he was playing. And then you add in the fact that he played through the back injury, which was pretty painful, and he had to have surgery, and he missed the spring. But, the best indication that there's no concern long-term is the extension. He also got a 4-year, $68 million extension. So Eagles aren't concerned about that long-term. But he played through that, and he shouldn't have been playing. But and that's always a check mark in this category as well. So, boy, you talk about center play in Philadelphia, and it's been pretty solid, and it's gone on seamlessly, almost like the quarterback version of Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, where you're like, well, you're never going to be able to replace Favre.
Right.
And they go pretty much seamless. And that's what the Eagles have done at center with Cam Jurgens. And he's only going to get better.
That's a hat tip to Cam Jurgens, man. You're right about that. That's not an easy thing to do, from not only the on the field stuff, but the off the field stuff, the stature, the pedigree, the fandom, the celebrity status, all of those things. It's sometimes that'll cloud a player, or that will mentally bog another player. And Cam has really been just locked in through it all, unfazed by it all, and really playing at such a high level. So Cam Jurgens coming in at number 12, Johnny Mac. I mentioned I wanted to read the top 25 real quick. So let me just rattle off the names, and then I got some questions for you on our 12th player on the list. That is Cam Jurgens. So number 25, remember we had Jihad Campbell, Drew Makuba. They were the only tie. 24, Matt Pryor. Could he win the starting right job role? I noticed Tyler Steen didn't make this list. Number 23, Adoree Jackson. 22, Jahan Dotson. 21, Keely Ringo. 20, Jake Elliott. 19, Jalix Hunt. 18, Moro Ajomo. 17, Jordan Davis. 16, Nakobe Dean. 15, Reed Blankenship. 14, Nolan Smith. 13, Dallas Goddard. And number 12, Cam Jurgens. John, and those are pretty good. The only two I'd switch is I'd maybe put Goddard at 13 or at 12, as I mentioned. Although I feel okay about where you have him. I'm not upset about it. And then I'd probably jump Reed over Nolan, because I think Reed has really established himself as a good player in Philly. But overall, man, I think this is about as accurate as you'll get. I wouldn't be surprised if this is a kind of a consensus way that people view these top 25.
Yeah, and there's some even I said, should I have done that? Should I have done that? I agree with you. I think Reed is, and I preach it all the time, probably a little bit too low because of his pedigree more than, it's hard to take that stuff out. And then once you get past 17, Nakobe as well. Nakobe more the injury. Nakobe coming off last year, if he doesn't get injured, he's higher on this list. Yeah. He's arguably top 10. That's how well he played last season. So, but it's hard to completely ignore those things, and sort of like a combination of demonstrated performance and evaluation and projection of where it's going this year. So that's where the nebulous part of it comes in. Um, so even in my own mind, I'm like, should I put that guy higher, this guy lower? But I said, to me, the cutoff is 17. It's a little deeper last year when you're talking about the Eagles as a whole, where you sort of have the tier one players, as I would call them, and then start tier two. Um, Still very deep compared to other teams, but a little bit less deep than last season.
Yep. Good stuff there, Johnny Mac. Got some questions on Cam Jurgens. Before I do that, let me hit my super chat here from the great Jason A-Team. What's up, brother? Hope you're doing well, Jason A-Team. I know you're a hard-working man. I hope you have a great 4th of July weekend, A-Team. Whatever you got going on, brother, I'm hoping you got a good one. He says, morning, Z and J Mac and my JAKIB family. Happy 4th of July weekend. Best channel on YouTube. Love it. Grateful for all the work you guys put in and the information you give us. Keeping us going during the week. Jason A-Team, thank you, brother. I appreciate that. $10 super chat from Jason A-Team. Kind words there from Jason A-Team as we head into the
I like it. The occasional kind word. I like it.
Jason normally has good words for us. Jason's a good supporter of us.
Yeah, thank you, Jason.
Jason, appreciate it, man. Good stuff there. All right, John. So with Cam Jurgens now coming in, what's the outlook? What do you think the projection is? I mean, you just mentioned Pro Bowl year 1 starter, following up a Hall of Fame center's footsteps. Dare I say Cam Jurgens could potentially play himself into Canton one day as well? I don't know. Sounds far-fetched, but if I told you, I don't think Kelsey was as good in his first year as Cam Jurgens was in his first year. That's
sure. Yeah. Jason had an interesting career. He got better as he went along. So definitely Cam's above where he was if you wanted to play that projection game. Now, can he ultimately get to 6-time All-Pro? I'm not gonna predict that for basically anybody. But it's funny for some reason, and just out of pocket, I was doing the Eagles quarterback, preview for training camp, and I had mentioned that Jalen Hurts is on a Hall of Fame trajectory as a player. Still very young. He'll be 27 in training camp. And I saw BLG was on the show yesterday. He's talking about Jalen Carter being on a Hall of Fame trajectory, which I kind of agree with, but it's 2 years. So what does it really matter? You got to, it's too early in his career. But certainly from a talent standpoint, I mean, I say he's arguably, the most talented defensive player the Eagles have had in decades. Probably got to go back to Reggie, to be honest. So obviously he's got that kind of upside, but it's so early in his career. There are a lot of future Hall of Famers here, potentially on this team. So I say again, for Eagles fans out there celebrating 4th of July, enjoy this time because it's not normally like this. Now, am I going to project Cam to be a Hall of No. But can he be one of the best centers in the NFL? Yes. I think, arguably a lot of people point to his PFF grades, which were disappointing from his reputation standpoint, I guess I would say. But again, I don't think they realize that the context of those grades. He's playing through this painful injury that would have shut down most players. He's not playing well. He did not play well in the NFC Championship game when he was forced to come in. Remember, he didn't start the NFC Championship game.
Yeah, I remember it well. He had the back issues, all sorts of different things there, John.
And then Landon, who I argue is the best center on the Eagles, and another Hall of Fame trajectory player, but very early in his career. Started the championship game at center. He got hurt. And then Cam had dressed just in case of an emergency, and the emergency happens, and he goes in and finishes the game. And I remember watching him walk off the field. He tremendous pain. And then he had you get the little break in between the championship game and the Super Bowl. That helped him, but he shouldn't have been playing.
Yeah.
And he persevered. Now, it didn't matter. They beat them like a drum, so it really didn't matter. But if you look from play to play, he didn't play that well, certainly not up to his standard. So, if he was healthy, his grade probably goes, I think he was 14th. It probably goes from 14 to like 6 or something like that. And then he's right in the conversation with the best centers in football in his first year, which is why he made the Pro Bowl. And then you have Frank Ragnow with the surprise retirement. So he's one of those guys that would have been considered better. He's out. So now you're talking about Creed Humphrey, who's the best. And then probably Tyler Linderbaum from Baltimore, who's also very good. And then you got a bunch of guys. Ryan Kelly's very good, but he's always hurt. And he moved from Indy to Minnesota. He's I don't know, 4-time Pro Bowl or whatever. He's very good, but you can't count on him staying healthy. Other than those 3 guys, he's right there. And he's only going to get better. So the Eagles are in a good position at center.
No doubt about it, John. We just bringing that Hall of Fame thing up, though, makes my mind wonder about all these players. I'm like, Jason Kelsey's probably going in the Hall of Fame. Fletcher Cox is on the bubble, I would say.
Yeah, I think he should be in, but I think he's on the bubble. I don't think Brandon
no, right?
Will make it, but he probably should be a bigger conversation than people realize. But I don't think he'll make it because of the lack of sacks, unfortunately.
Right.
It permeates everything.
Yeah, unfortunately is right. Lane Johnson.
Oh, yeah.
Hall of Famer.
Slam dunk
Hall of Famer. Now, then you have the speculations because now you're out of the veteran territory. You got, let's call a spade a spade. Jalen Hurts is kind of on a Hall of Fame trajectory, I think, at least. I don't know what you think of that.
I just said, I wrote it this week. It's on a Hall of Fame trajectory. I mean, he started yeah, he's already in the Hall of Fame. I've already said that.
That's bold. A.J. Brown?
Yeah, definitely. Hall of Fame trajectory.
Dickerson? Probably not Mailata, right? I mean, as much as he is a wow factor, does he have the accolades at this point to get there?
Probably doesn't, but probably will in a couple of years. I think he broke through that window with the All-Pro nod. So he still needs some more time, but still young enough to do it. We'll see. And that's a position where you can play at a high level a little bit later.
It's true. Look at Lane.
And Jason, offensive line in general.
Yeah, right.
So, yeah, he's I wouldn't say he's there. I mean, I wouldn't even say HA to me is the best player, but he's not there yet. But Saquon's there because, and I think he still should still need, personally, I think he needs a few more seasons, which he'll do, but I think he's already in because of his status and his reputation. There's a lot of things that come into it.
Yeah, it's not just straight football. Who am I missing in terms of could be on that type of projection? Anybody on the defensive side right now? Jalen Carter, obviously mentioned.
I mean, Slay just left. He's a borderline Hall of Famer
in the combo.
Yeah, and then they're so young on a defense. Yeah. It's not as
one of the cheapest defenses in the league. John, did you see that thing?
Well, they're all young. They're all young. That's how it works. If you hit on your draft picks. One of the things I hate about the mentality of my industry is, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that. You can't win with a $50 million quarterback. Well, the Eagles did because they hit on a bunch of draft picks. Do you have to pay a bunch of younger players? Sure. But you can win in so many different ways. The idea that you have to do it. It's my big problem with the Sixers. We talked a lot about the Sixers. Oh, you have to do it this way. No, you don't. There's a million ways to win, even in the NBA, as Oklahoma City proved this year, and Indiana to a certain extent getting there. The idea of the super team in basketball, that's where all the lemmings went. You have to do it this way. You can only do it this way. Now, a bunch of teams have proven, even in that industry, no, you could do it another way. The Eagles did it a unique way. Does that mean you have to do it like the Eagles? I'd say good luck, because it's going to be really hard to do it like the Eagles, because they spent years and years and years building up that offensive line. You can't just wake up one morning and say, I'm going to build my offensive line like Philadelphia.
Yeah. People try and do that. They can't.
It takes 5-6 years minimum.
Yeah. And John, I'll correct you. It takes 5-6 years if you make all the right moves.
Yeah.
No guarantee that people are doing that either. They could try for 5-6 years. Most teams aren't picking the right players and developing them properly.
I mean, you could start and say, I want to build like the Eagles, and I think more teams should. Offensive, defensive line first. But it's a lengthy process. It's a lengthy process.
Yeah, and again, the evaluation matters. I mean, when's the last first or second round pick on top 3 pick offensive lineman that the Eagles have missed on?
Andre Dillard.
Yeah, it's true.
I mean,
Steen doesn't win the job. You could say Steen.
Yeah, third round pick. I don't think that's a big issue.
I just mean, like, you look across the league, like there are so many teams that are spending first on tackles that don't pan out. Mekhi Becton, that's how he showed up last year. Evan Neal in New York. I mean, all these.
Oh, yeah.
You can set that philosophy. Let's build like the Eagles. Draft offensive linemen, defensive linemen. If you don't draft the right guys or you don't develop them properly, it doesn't matter how many years you do it in a row. You're not going to have an offensive line that resembles anything close to ours.
Yeah. I was reading X this morning, and they're popped up in my feed. I don't know why, because I'm not a big tennis guy, but Emma, and I don't even know how to pronounce her name. Maybe you do. Raducanu, anybody? I don't know. I'm not a tennis guy, but somebody asked her a question at Wimbledon about basically another player giving a press conference talking about the lack of joy in his life, because when you lose in tennis, it's depressing. So anyway, that was the question. I'm just painting that, and I was reading it, and I'm like, Jesus Eppin, you know what? This sounds like an Eagles player. And what she said is, tennis is a really difficult sport. You lose every week pretty much. Now, football, obviously the Eagles are winning every week, but if you expand it to Super Bowl or bust,
right?
Again, I always point out Tom Brady, no matter who you want to, they lose their last game more than they win their last game. That's where the connection is. So anyway, out of however many tournaments, you're going to lose most of them, she said. So that's a really difficult concept to get your mind around. She's not even talking about fans. She's talking about herself. At the same time, there's an opportunity the next week. You see the momentum, blah, blah, blah. It's a very mentally challenging sport. I think for me, what I found, trying to surround yourself with good people, sounds like the Eagles, trying to win the day, constantly talk about that, trying to focus on the process as much as possible, process over results, constant. I think the results, it's really difficult, back to her, to kind of take your joy from the results. AJ, Saquon, because it's so up and down. It's a roller coaster. So trying to think, did I get 1% better today? How many times have you heard that from Nick Sirianni?
This girl's a Jalen Hurts fan.
Yeah.
She's listening to the Jalen Hurts pressers, no doubt.
Did I maintain today? Because maintaining as well is a big skill. If you don't do the right work, you can easily slip. Trying to maintain and at least get a little bit better is the goal that I have. Exactly what the Eagles say.
Right.
Exactly what the Eagles
it's
say.
a good philosophy for life, though, isn't it, John? I mean, it's a good approach to
yeah,
life.
but nobody, so few have it. It's and that's what Nick's are, and you're gonna, and like I said, you're gonna hear a lot about it before training camp from when he spoke to reporters. You're gonna hear a lot about that. It's you know, people are so focused on the results. And that's what repeat. They don't want to hear that word. They don't want to hear it, because the moment you start thinking ahead or looking back and patting yourself on the back is the moment you're going to lose your edge.
Yeah, skip steps in the process. And in the process, if you do it right, is what will ultimately bear that reward.
And that's the point. If you do the process right and you get, as cliche as it sounds, get a little bit better every day, the results are going to take care of themselves, which they have in Philadelphia for the large part. You can't win every year. Everybody knows it. Stars have to align. Everybody understands that. But if you do it the right way, you have a better opportunity that when the stars do align, you're in a position to take advantage of it. Because a lot of people, when the stars do align, aren't in a position to take advantage of it. In football, if they're healthy, mainly, and you have good players, but you haven't prepared the right way, you're not in a position to take advantage of it. But anyway, I read that from her this morning. I'm like, man, she could be on the Eagles.
It's a good philosophy, though. It's the right. I think it's the right philosophy for more than just football or tennis or in anything. We want to grow Birds 365. We want to have the best show. We can look at the results, or we can come here every day, do our best each day, the process, the guest, everything that we do, and the results will bear themselves out.
Yeah,
it makes sense.
Yeah, there are sometimes, you know, when we started the show, I'm like, boy, why aren't more people listening early on? And I get caught up in that. And I'm like, now I don't even pay attention. Obviously, in the off season, it goes down a little bit, but compared to everybody else who copied the show, we're pretty damn consistent.
Yep.
And there's always going to be people that, you know, aren't interested in the off season, but that's baked into it. So yeah, it's similar. You know, their job is much more difficult, but I think it's when you hear AJ, he got shit on by some people for that, and Saquon and Jalen say stuff like that. Well, it's like, for them, the reason they are who they are.
Yeah, exactly. You can't really get shit on them. I mean, come on. Anybody who's shitting on them is
because of their approaches.
Right.
So anyway, that struck out to me this morning.
Yeah,
so thank you, Emma. I'm an Emma fan now.
Emma, what's her name? Emma Raducanu, you said? Emma,
it's Raducanu. Emma.
Got it.
Raducanu.
She's from the UK, Emma Raducanu. We are rooting for Emma Raducanu. She won yesterday her match. All right, so let's see. She plays her next match tomorrow in the, what is it? The Wimbledon. Oh, is it Wimbledon right now?
Yeah, it's Wimbledon. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not a tennis guy, so I had.
Yeah, I'm not a tennis guy either.
Yeah, I had no clue. That's a good piece though, right there, John.
Yeah, it happened to pop up in my feed. So normally stuff that you don't follow that pops up in your feed is a disaster.
Oh man, it's so true.
But this
Actually,
one,
I used to not subscribe, John, to people who like were constantly ripping X, because I'm like, I don't really give a shit that Elon bought. I don't give. All I want to do is share out what I need to share out, get the clicks I need.
Well, exactly. I don't care about that.
I need, but it has gotten a lot worse. Like I can't even click on the For You page. It's so much bullshit and division and all this crap that's just meant to incite the fires. I'm like, this is stupid nowadays. I can't even go on it as much anymore.
Well, that's all social media. But to my point, I pretty much the only one I use is X. It's not because of Elon Musk or support or it's because that's where people break news. That's it.
Yeah. Yep.
It is what it is. And if something surpasses it, like all these goofballs who tried Threads for 3 weeks, and I'm gonna go away.
Blue Sky. Remember, we had like a couple of weeks of guests who were like, promote my Blue Sky.
Could you promote my Blue Sky? Yeah, sure. I can cut down a tree in the woods too. Nobody's going to hear that either. Nobody's going to Blue Sky.
John, I'm proud of you and I. We both held strong and we held off Blue Sky. Didn't promote it once here on the show.
I don't mind promoting it.
No, I mean that me and you never said.
No, yeah, but I'm not going to waste my time. I don't have enough time to go on. People, say, well, why don't you tweet from training camp or whatever they call it? Post now, just post. I'm like, Elon's not paying me. Well, he is, but very little. You barely get anything.
Yeah, it's like $20 is what.
So why am I sitting there? No, if you want to hear my information, come here or read Sports Illustrated because they're the ones that pay me. To me, it's pretty simple.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit out there and do play-by-play for training camp, for Twitter. Sorry, Elon X.
Well, I guess there's a line of thought that,
well, there's a line of thought for people trying to build their own brands.
Right. Or build, you could make the argument, build the show brand. You know what I mean? More people that see John or, you know what I mean? But I get it. I agree with you.
Yeah. To me, it's not productive. Number one, because you're sitting there with your head in your phone and there's no. Now the Eagles do have a big video board where if you're in the right position, you can see a replay. But, it's not like you can see replays at will. So if you're not watching practice, like how many people, like one of my pet peeves was all the Devin White stuff last year, which you can go back. Our shows are archived. Yeah. How long was I telling you that Nakobe was going to be there? And you know what? Everybody's got their damn heads in their phones and saying, well, Devin's got the first rep. And then here comes Nakobe, and he's getting a ton more reps by the end of training camp with the first team.
Right.
But that's it.
I'll never forget the breaking news show we did when they cut him. Or did they cut him or trade him or what they did?
They
released him, right?
Yeah.
They didn't bring him. They didn't fly him to Brazil. That's what happened.
Well, he didn't play. He was on the team. He made the final, but he didn't play when he was here at all because obviously he's not going to play special teams. So they ended up he never played a snap. He ended up in October. It might have been September. I don't know. He signed with Houston in October, but they had to move on. Yeah. But he made the initial 53, but he never played a snap for the team because he couldn't play.
Didn't he not fly to Brazil though for the opener? Or wasn't?
Yeah, he didn't even dress. Yeah, he didn't. Yeah, no, yeah, he wasn't a part of it. They were just.
He was a placeholder.
Yeah, they didn't want to cut him because they signed him to what was described as a 1 year, $7.5 million deal, but it was really $4 million. But they were trying to get something for him, and they held out as long as possible, and it went the way it went. But there are a lot of people who just look at the first rep and say, so and so is getting first team. It's like a lot of reps in practice.
It is. Here's Prince, man. Great super chat here. Prince, $20. Thank you, brother. Prince, one of our best supporters here on the channel all throughout. JAKIB on Birds, on Sills, on post games. Prince, we love you, brother. Appreciate it. He says, thank you, J-Mac, for sharing that. I was literally just battling with myself about this process, feeling frustrated about not seeing results yet, especially on the work front. What you said answered all the questions with the heart. Love that. Look at that, man.
Well, Emma deserves the credit, but thank you. But I have talked about it before. I've talked
Yeah,
about
and you shared
process
it.
over results numerous times. I just like when it's people who actually do it express similar sentiments. One of the times, and again, I'll go back to the Sixers because it's in town. I think you see it's not, there's no stat that can tell you, but I think you can see, especially if you're a 4-for-4 Philadelphia sports man, I think you can see the good organization and the bad organization. Now, how do you measure that? Now, my belief is it all started for the Sixers when they lost on purpose. People are like, all right, no big deal. You get the best player. There are consequences to that. You have a losing culture. And then you're supposed to wake up one day and have a winning culture because there's a winning player here. There's a better player. There's a talented player. But they woke up, they got the talented player, but they didn't have the winning culture. There are consequences to everything you do. Even though to somebody who doesn't play, like the executives, they say, well, we just got a good player. So let's turn it on now. We'll turn it off and then we'll turn it on. Good organizations don't do that. Now, will you have down years? Yes, because it is cyclical. Pro sports is cyclical from a talent standpoint. So sometimes you'll have good players like the Eagles have right now, and sometimes you'll have less good players. That's just the way it works.
Again, models life too. I mean, life is cyclical. It's not all highs and it's not all lows. That's part of the beauty of being alive.
But if you do it the right way consistently, if that process stays the right way, and 1% better might be 9 wins instead of 8 wins. I always bring that up with Vic. Vic was always a great coach. Now he just has the accomplishment. He was always going to get more out of his talent than anybody else. But if you have 6-win talent and you win 8 games, nobody's patting you on the back except the people that know. Larry Brown was the same way with this in basketball. Always got more than he should have out of what he had. And that to me defines a truly great coach. Doesn't mean you're going to win every year. Because that is, beholden to a bunch of different things. But if you do it right, the better opportunity for you to have those results down the line. So I'm glad it helped Prince. I don't deserve credit for it. I learned that from, people I've talked to and great coaches that I've talked to. And, sometimes it's another quote I love from Connor Barwin, actually gave it to Nick. The burden of leadership is repetition, because sometimes it gets boring to say that process, repetition, and people just roll their eyes, and I've rolled my eyes.
John, when did this show up this hard in Philly? You've been here, you've been covering this team now 9 years, going into your 10th season, covering this team up close and personal. Is it Jalen Hurts? Is it Nick Sirianni? Is it a combination of both? Have they fed into each other? I do say Jalen has kind of had a mindset that resembles this for a long time. But you hear Nick now. I mean, even Nick and that unscripted that everybody was sharing out, you can tell that he's now pushed more on this. And he's been doing it for a while too, even before the results came. When did this show up in Philly?
Well, I think it showed up a very long time ago because it's a commonality, and that's why I brought up the tennis player and Emma. It's a commonality amongst top-tier athletes.
To this level, though,
Well, I think it amped up in Philadelphia because of what I said about repetition. Nick is not afraid of repetition. Like other people are afraid. They don't want to sound like an idiot. They don't want to get made fun of. oh, here's the 170th time he says something, and everybody doesn't want to see the rolling eyes. And Nick's very comfortable in the skin now. He doesn't give a shit. And he says it all the time. He says, it's boring, but blah, blah, blah. You know, when people ask him, TV people all the time ask him, Dallas is coming up in 3 weeks. Answers it every time, you know. Next game. Compartmentalize. Doesn't deter. Burden of leadership is repetition. So I think it's amped up with Nick, but I think it's been there. It's been there with good coaches. It was there with Doug. You know, guys like Jim Schwartz. It's always been there. And certainly the organization is part of that as a whole. But there's, you know, they pay, I would say they pay more attention to it than because other organizations are going to say the same thing. It's not like they're by themselves, but their actions speak differently. You know, they seem to believe it and have gotten a bunch of guys who believe it, which is maybe.
Yeah, but even believing it's not enough. I think living it, they live it.
Well, living, yeah,
that's
exactly.
the most important.
They seem to live it. Because I think, again, I'm picking on the Sixers, but they probably say similar things, but it's lip service.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I said believing it's not enough.
Yeah. But yeah, I think with fans, the process over results thing does not resonate at all. At all. Most fans.
Well, isn't there just a natural disconnect there of, you know, the fans it's an emotional thing to be a fan.
Well, yeah,
you don't, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't, for the players, obviously it makes sense. Even for guys like us, I think it makes sense. But when you're a fan, you're just kind of.
Well, I think for people in their personal life, if they tried it, it would probably help.
Yeah, like Prince is saying here in a super chat.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, life's not fair. Everything's not going to go your way all the time. And I talk about decision making all the time. You can read, and I've read books on decision making, and you know, it's all very consistent as well. A good decision does not guarantee a good result. You may make a bad decision and get a good result.
Exactly.
But if you continue to make bad decisions, you're going to get a bunch of bad results starting to pile up, and vice versa. If you make good decisions, things are going to start going in a positive direction. But it's hard for people to wrap around. Oh, I made a good decision and I got a bad result. No, they got a bad result, so they think they made a bad decision, which is difficult to wrap your head around.
Yeah. Feels I had a Cam Jurgens question. Doesn't feel as powerful. Doesn't feel as powerful.
I don't know. It's Thursday before 4th of July. I don't know why I went on that tangent already.
I thought it was a really good tangent.
But I know I saw the tweet this morning about Emma, but I don't know why I brought it up here. Just we were talking about something with Cam. But anyway, Cam's a good player.
Yeah, he is. He's a really good player. We'll take a commercial break because I want to reset it. But a really good breakdown from Emma Raducanu. If you're listening to Birds 365 today and you're like me and you don't know a dang thing about tennis, you don't know who plays, you don't know when the events are, as evidently I didn't know it was the Wimbledon, we are going to root for Emma Raducanu. All right, she's UK, but we're rooting for her. Is there any American in this that I'm bashing that I should be rooting for instead? I don't think so.
I'm sure there are.
Coco Gauff, is she American? Coco Gauff, the young girl.
I have no idea.
No idea. Okay, yeah. So I know maybe a little bit more than you. Coco Gauff might be the only one I know.
Yeah,
but I'm rooting for
Emma was once top 10 in the world, so you know, not now, but so there's something.
Well, she won her 2 games so far, so we'll see what she does. Good stuff. Rich says it's Coco Z, you dork. Thank you, Rich. Appreciate it. Appreciate it, brother.
I don't even know. I bailed on tennis a long time ago. I'm back in the McEnroe Borg era. You know, that's all. That's what I'll still say. Tennis player. I'll still say John McEnroe first.
Yeah, that's what
Jimmy Connors. Jimmy Connors. Yeah, guys like that. Yeah. Martina, Chris Evert.
Yeah. Like this guy said it a little bit ago. Has anyone even watched tennis since John McEnroe? There you go, right
exactly. There. Martina Navratilova and Chris Evert had a phenomenal rivalry. That's my wheelhouse, sadly. I have no idea on the new players, except that Roger Federer was really great for a long time.
I know Novak Djokovic. I know.
Yeah, Djokovic and those guys.
The big guys.
I know the names of the really superstars, but I lost interest.
Yeah, me neither. I'm not a tennis guy, but good stuff there. Let's get to our commercial break. Appreciate everybody being here this morning. All right, a great segment there. A nice tangent from Johnny Mack on Emma Raducanu talking about the process over the results, something the Eagles have lived out here in Philadelphia, and you can see what it's done for the results in Philly, living out that process and focusing on that process. I'll give everybody a call for the 4th of July weekend. Try and channel that in your own life if you can. All right. I think it'll do good things for each and every one of us, and I will try my best to channel it as well. We appreciate all of you guys being here. All right. Hit that like button for us. Let's get a good like count here in the day before 4th of July. It'll be our last show of the weekend. I see we got a good crowd in here. Sasha's back in here. What up, Sasha? Dang Bird Gang's in here. Slagger, Twiz the Jigga, Real Zeal, Mike Fittery, Rich, who's calling me a dork again. Kevin Savard, appreciate all of you guys. Yale Roth, what's up, Yale? Good to see you in here. Appreciate all of you guys. Hit that like button. We'll be right back in 3 minutes on Birds 365.
Welcome to the Jet Setters and the High Rollers, to the Shot Takers and the Tastemakers. Welcome to the Viewfinders, the Thrill Seekers, and the Night Owls. Welcome to everything you could possibly want on one 5-mile island. Welcome to the Wildwoods. Book your stay today.
The following is a real testimonial from the father of a young injured victim.
I didn't think she was going to make it.
Major Perry's daughter was the victim of a horrific accident caused by someone else's negligence.
If you don't find the right counselor, law firm that you're looking for, you will get lost in the wilderness.
Badly injured? Call the Fritz and Bianculli Law Firm at 215-458-2222 and find out why they say, "We got this."
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We go the extra mile to lend a helping hand.
Thank you.
We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong. We've been deeply rooted in our communities for more than 85 years. And that connection to members has earned us our spot as the #1 health insurer in the region. So while you look out for your neighbors, know IBX is always looking out for you.
Your financial future is on the line. Are you ready for what's next? At Leone & Company Wealth Management, we help young professionals, business owners, and pre-retirees navigate the complexities of building and protecting wealth. For young professionals, we'll help you grow your wealth, plan for your future, and make the most of your hard-earned dollars. For business owners, we provide strategies to protect your company, manage risks, and create a lasting legacy for both your business and personal wealth. For pre-retirees, we'll design a plan to secure your retirement, ensuring you can live comfortably and confidently in your next chapter. Whether you're just starting out, managing a thriving business, or preparing for retirement, we're here to help you take control of your financial future. The first consultation is on us. Get the advice you need without the cost. Let's make your financial vision a reality. Take the next step. Scan the QR code to schedule your free consultation today. And of course, go Birds.
Welcome to the Jet Setters and the High Rollers, to the Thrill Seekers and the Night Owls. Welcome to everything you could possibly want on one 5-mile island. Welcome to the Wildwoods. Book your stay today.
EAGLES. Eagles.
Welcome back in, everybody, to a Thursday edition of Birds 365. Wrapping up the week here on a Thursday with the 4th of July tomorrow, already July 3rd. We're cruising right along, everybody. What are we, under 20 days now, John, until they report? Holy shit, 20 days until they're on the football field once again, my friend. It's cruising right along, and we are getting there under 3 weeks now until this team is on the practice field for training camp. And before we know it, we'll be in preseason. And before we know it again, it'll be September 4th, and we'll be dropping the banner, taking on the Dallas Cowboys in week number 1. Johnny Mac, cruising right along, my friend.
Yeah, 19 days away from reporting day. Yeah, and once we get back from the weekend, I think things will amp up pretty quickly. The hype, a lot of it's dependent on the Phillies and how they're playing. They're doing okay, so I think that keeps people invested at least for a little while longer. But when the
starting pitching right now, good starting pitching for the Phillies.
Yeah, when the Eagles start, man, they're the kings in town. No question about it.
There's no doubt about it. John, you got any fun 4th of July outfits? You breaking out the red, white, and blue Jason Kelsey Speedo tomorrow? What do you got? Come on, you doing something or anything or no? I tried to go white shirt, got the red logo and the blue hat. Did my best I could for red, white, and blue for 4th.
Boy, I had a 4th of July T-shirt that I was breaking out pretty consistently. I don't know what the hell I did it, so I'm probably just gonna be the normal T-shirts.
You're going black polo on 4th of July.
No, not black polo.
No black polo.
I don't have to deal with a green screen in my personal life.
That's true. People don't realize that the easiest thing for you to do is just wear the black polo. I know why you do it every day.
It's not even black. That's what I'm saying. This is blue.
Is it?
Yeah.
Navy blue.
But everything looks black. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. It's definitely blue.
Yeah, good stuff. What's everybody got going on? Drop your plans for 4th of July in the chat, and I'll read a couple of them a little bit later on here in the show. John, I do want to wrap up a couple more things on Cam Jurgens because we did go on a nice little tangent there, and I didn't get every question I wanted to get in on Cam. But I will say this: Cam was dealing with that injury last year. He played through. You talked about it in opening segment. Painful back injury in the playoffs. He underwent a successful offseason surgery. How do you think? Any concern on that coming into the year? What are your thoughts on that surgery? I'm not sure if you have any intel on it or if you've heard anything behind the scenes that you can share, or maybe some information on it. I'm assuming it all went well, but it is an assumption that he's going to come in and be the same exact player.
Well, I think like I said, the 4-year, $68 million extension gives you an indication that the team is not concerned. He didn't participate in spring work, but he talked to us. He was there. All indications are he's going to be fine. Just needs time to heal. There was no concern. Brett Toth was taking first team reps in the spring. They drafted Drew Kendall, who I think has got a chance to be a pretty good center himself. So they have a little more depth than maybe they had last year because of Kendall when they had to move Landon Dickerson over to replace him. So that part of it. But no, I get, if there was any concern like there is with N'Kobe, I mean, you just don't extend him. You wait and see. And they not only extended him, they gave him a more significant. I knew he was going to get a significant deal, but I think he got a more significant deal than I even expected. So follow the money. They are not concerned.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Not concerned. Big contract, man. I forgot about that. I knew he got the contract, obviously. I forgot 4 years, 68 though. Where's that? Where did that put him, John, with the top centers in the NFL? He's up there, right?
Yeah, I'd have to look it up. I'll look it up. But yeah, he's definitely, he didn't set the market as the Eagles have, but he got awfully close. being at the top, and I'm just pulling it up. Yeah, he's number 2, right behind Creed Humphrey. So, I mean, I would tell you that is all you need to know when it comes to concern level. They made him the second highest paid center in the history of football. Contract.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Here's Dankbird gang. I guess they didn't like my question. He says, "Thanks for the visuals, Xander. I'd rather take a pile driver from D'Lo Brown."
Poor Draws, man. Come on.
He did say rest in peace, Draws.
Yeah. He didn't die from his injury at the time, but obviously he had so many concerns and finally passed.
I don't even know the guy. So what's the story?
Former football player, by the way, Darren Drozdoff. D'Lo Brown dropped him on his head, basically. And he was paralyzed.
Wow.
For the rest of his life. Sad story, but dangerous. Yeah, people don't realize how dangerous that sport can be. And yeah, happened on live television too.
Oof. Geez, brutal story there. Dang, geez. But I'm sorry for the visual.
Also, South Jersey guy, Darren.
Is he?
Drozdoff. Yeah, Mays Landing, I think.
Nice. A lot of South Jersey people, John. Jersey produces a lot of good people.
Yeah, he was good. He was good. I mean, he played in the NFL for a couple years. He was a really good college player. I think he went to Cilio School, first school, Maryland.
Oh, nice.
I believe.
Nice. Good stuff there. All right, so that's going to wrap up the Cam Jurgens talk. We feel pretty good about Cam Jurgens. John, what do you think his ceiling is? Last question there. What do you think his ceiling is, Cam Jurgens? We talked about maybe Hall of Fame. I know that's a crazy conversation.
No, I didn't say
no. No. I'm not saying Hall of Fame. I was just saying Jason's going to the Hall of Fame. He's following up Jason, and he had a better year one than Jason had his year one, obviously. So that's what I was talking about. But I wasn't. We'll see.
Yeah, but also, he did playing center, but also, Cam's going into his 4th year. The first year he didn't play. Second year he took over at right guard for Isaac Seumalo. Third year he moved to center. So, because Kelsey kept playing, they drafted him to be Kelsey's heir apparent, but Kelsey kept playing. So he's already in his 4th year. Upside to me is one of the best 3 centers in football. Right there with Creed and Tyler Linderbaum would be my top 2. And he's got a chance to be number 3. Eric McCoy's healthy. There's a guy I should have mentioned before. I mentioned Ryan Kelly, who's older but been a really good player. Eric McCoy he got hurt last year in the Eagles game. Remember how well the Saints played early in the season? And then they kind of fell off.
Yeah, they were like 80 points in the first 2 games or something.
They lost Eric McCoy, who was like a big time center. And they did not handle it well. So he's in the conversation, but yeah, top 5 center. It's what I expect from Cam Jurgens.
Good stuff. Johnny Mac, I read over yesterday on your article about Jalen Hurts and the quarterback group here in Philly. Let's talk about them for a little bit here as we now prep for training camp. That's one thing I do want to do. We've talked about most things this offseason. I don't think there's anything we've left out, but we will reset as we get closer to training camp. We want to refresh everything for everybody. So we'll start to do that a lot more next week and then leading into training camp. But an interesting preview on the quarterback room, and you also wrote something about the wide receivers as well that we'll talk about today. But good quarterback room coming in this year, John. I think one of their better groups. I know that Tanner McKee is maybe not as proven as Kenny Pickett, but I feel pretty good about the room, and I like Kyle McCord as well. So good quarterback room, John, coming into camp. Obviously, something the Eagles care a lot about.
Yeah, they do. And obviously you never want to lose your starting quarterback. I kind of gauge it like if in the worst case scenario, like, and obviously nobody wants a deal, but if you have to play without your starting quarterback, what would you be? And I think the Eagles could be a sort of a wild card one and done type playoff team. With Tanner McKee. Now, more of that has to do with the talent around him. Obviously, they would go even more run heavy, play action, but I don't think they'd fall apart. Now, while I say that, there's a lot of projection involved with that as well. The guy essentially has never played. He threw four. People got fired up because he threw 4 passes at the end of that Dallas game, and 2 of them were touchdowns. Well, Dallas had given up, and great. And then you saw the meaningless Week 18 game against the Giants, which was a lot of repetition. That's what I took from that game. A lot of repetition. So I thought Kenny Pickett, I was one of the few people that did a solid job as a backup quarterback last year. Playing through a rib, broken rib. Very competitive in that Washington game when Jalen Hurts got hurt. They should have won that game. It was actually the defense that let them down. Maybe the only time the defense let them down last season. Should have won the game. And then, the game that everybody was fired up on, Kenny led them to that blowout win despite the broken rib. So I was a little surprised the Eagles moved on so quickly, but that tells you what they think of Tanner McKee. They think he's ready. I'm more high on Kyle McCord. I'm a Kyle McCord guy who is completely
Me too.
unproven. I've seen one pass in camp, so I acknowledge this is just complete. But I've seen a lot of young quarterbacks, and they always are slow processing. Always. And he's quick. And right there, I'm like, that's different.
And he stands in the pocket, man. Anybody that watched some of his games at
that might hurt him, but that might hurt him in the NFL. You got to protect yourself, but we'll see.
Well, still, you got to be able to make throws from the pocket.
Well, you do, but you got to.
Well, quick processor, and he stands in the pocket. Now, you're right. There could be some issues, but there's also could develop into a good skill set.
Yeah, it could. If he can stay alive, it could. But he's also, in theory, if he would have to play, he's playing behind a very good offensive line.
Exactly. Yep.
But he's not going to have to play. He's not going to push Tanner McKee. I just think I rarely see processing that early with young quarterbacks that quickly. And to me, it's like route running with receivers. I don't care about 4, 3, 5, 4. Everybody cares about it. I'm like, can he run routes? I don't give a shit. I mean, you have to have a base level of being able to run to be an NFL wide receiver. But I'll take the 4-4-5 guy who can run routes over the 4-3-2 guy who can't run a route to save his life. Every time. Every single time. Same thing with quarterback. I'll take the guy who can process over Justin Fields, who's this phenomenal athlete who you don't even have to get out the stopwatch. I always joke. You can time his processing on a sundial. That's how slow he is. So who cares how gifted he is? And I know I got a bunch of Jets fans in my personal life. They hate when I bring it up because they're fired up. People talk themselves into things. And I'm like, wait till you see this kid play, man. Oof. Slow. Not from an athleticism standpoint, from a processing standpoint.
Right.
And and that does not work in the NFL. He'll make some plays because he's a great athlete, but the consistency won't be there. That's why I'm so high on Kyle McCord. And then Dorian Thompson-Robinson, really just a throw in. I think the Eagles would like to keep him on the practice squad, but that'll depend on elsewhere in the NFL because you're going to have to waive them. And there are a lot of teams that don't have decent third quarterback options, and maybe it gets claimed on waivers. But if they have the opportunity to get him back, they'd like to continue working with him, but they might not get that opportunity.
Yeah, we'll see.
But to me, if guys are healthy, this is as clear cut as it gets. Jalen Hurts, Tanner McKee, Kyle McCord.
Yeah, I agree with that. Primo checked in. He said, question, is McKee trade bait?
No.
I don't think so either. I just wanted to ask the question because it was there. Good stuff. Quarterback room.
Maybe
still
after
bad.
the season.
Yeah.
Same
right.
this year.
Feel better
No.
with McCord. Another year under McCord's belt. You can probably see how he's processing and developing camp and practice and all throughout the year. I could see McKee after this year. What do they have? 2 more years with McKee?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's got right. Yeah. So.
And you want to make, similar to what they did with Kenny. Like people would talk last year because, Tanner played well in the preseason game, or they read that Tanner played better in practice or something like that. And they never wavered off Kenny Pickett as the backup, even through the Super Bowl when he had a broken rib. When he had a broken rib, they never went to Tanner McKee. But they also know he was leaving, and they're comfortable enough with the development of Tanner McKee behind the scenes that they said, all right, this is the time to act. We can get something for Kenny Pickett. So let's spin it off. The same thing might happen next year when the Eagles say, all right, maybe Tanner McKee played well in the preseason, and maybe he plays well if Jalen sprains his ankle or gets a concussion this year. And, then somebody might talk themselves into giving up something pretty significant. And by that point, they might be comfortable enough with Kyle to say, all right, let's pull the trigger. But not now, not in the immediate moment. You need a backup quarterback. And I like Kyle McCord, but he's a 6th-round pick who's never done anything. The Eagles aren't going to go into a season with that as their backup.
John, Jalen Hurts, his best years you think are out in front of him?
Yeah, he's 27 years old. I've mentioned he'll be 20. He's not even 27. He'll be 27 in August during training camp. He's way more comfortable than I've ever seen him before. So I don't know if that's just comfort with Kevin Patullo, who's been here for a long time. Like that has been a constant narrative. The play callers, the offensive coordinators, which by the way should go away because they won the damn Super Bowl when he was the most uncomfortable I've ever seen him, to be honest, which was last year. So I think that narrative should go away. But as he gets older and more experienced, he gets more comfortable. He gets better at that processing. He gets better with handling things at the line of scrimmage. That's another thing with Cam Jurgens we didn't talk about. Like Jalen Hurts wanted more autonomy at the line of scrimmage, couldn't get it when Jason Kelce was here. So that was sort of the silver lining of losing Jason Kelce. And I think you saw a vast improvement from Jalen from that perspective last year. So he's going to get better. He's going to keep getting better at that. And he's still in the wheelhouse of his athletic prime. So the running part of it is still always in the equation. How
do you think that shifts? Like as he's in his prime, I'd say now I agree with that. How do you think that shifts with the athletic, right? I mean, you're
I don't think it shifts at all.
No, not even a little bit. I mean, even as I'm not talking right this year, I'm talking about the next 3 years.
Well, as you get to as he gets older, it's going to have to shift a little bit, but right now it doesn't have to shift at all. And from his mentality, it was like he's going to go win a game. That's the thing about Jalen Hurts. He's going to go win a game. So he's not going to be the kind of guy that's like Donovan McNabb. Like, I want to prove to this idiot outside the walls that I can do this, or I'm not going to do this. He's going to go try to win a game, and he'll do whatever it takes to win a game. If he's proven one thing, that's it.
He likes to shut people up here and there. Remember that? Remember after the game? Is that what y'all wanted to see?
Oh, I think he enjoys shutting people up because he's a human being, but I don't think he's like Donovan literally changed his style of play because of outside voices, which is insane to me. Jalen's never done that. Jalen was more of, if they let me, I can do it, but they're not letting me, basically.
Right.
And then when they let him in the Pittsburgh game, he said, that's what you wanted to see.
But why were they not letting him? Wasn't that partly because they struggled in the first 4 weeks and he was part of that struggle? I mean,
yeah. I've said it pretty consistently. I thought that was an overreaction, but it worked. So nobody's going to see it as an overreaction. I wonder how
Jalen feels about that.
I wish more people could hear that. Can we put that on a loop? Because a lot of people criticize me for being too hard on Jalen Hurts. I'm the one who said consistently, I thought they were unfair to him after that 2-2 start. I thought they were way too panicked after that 2-2 start.
Yeah, but AJ Brown missed 3 of the damn games, for crying out loud.
Exactly. And the last game, which they really panicked, was no AJ, no Devontae, no Lane. None of them played. So what the hell do you expect? However, they won almost every game. They should have won every game. They lost the one game that we just talked about with Washington, where Kenny Pickett should have won the game, but the defense gave up the touchdown with 6 seconds left. And they just had a bad game overall, the defense, and Jaden Daniels made a bunch of plays. So yeah, I thought they were completely unfair to Jalen Hurts, but they won. So nobody's going to remember that. But I think that's where you brought up, him spiking the football sort of against Pittsburgh. I don't think that's a nod to people asking him to change his style of play. I think that was a nod to, see, I can do it, which is more about in-house than out-of-house, to be honest. The Eagles are trying to win, and they won.
How do you think he looks back at it? You think he agrees with you? It was unfair to him?
Yes.
Or do you think he doesn't give a shit because they won?
Oh, no.
And that's the main thing.
Well, I think, yeah, he wants to throw the football more. He's a quarterback. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
The main thing.
It's nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it. He went along with it. But similar to AJ, when people shit on AJ, why would you want a wide receiver who doesn't want the football? Same thing with a quarterback. Why would you want a quarterback that doesn't have confidence in himself to throw the football? Why? I wouldn't want him. I don't want a game manager. He's not a game manager. He doesn't see himself as a game manager.
Well, he was a game manager last year, for sure.
Yeah, I think that's unfair to him, which I've said pretty consistently. But they won.
Yeah.
But I think the assumption of you can just reboot it and do the same thing again. Again, the margin of error is still small. They succeeded, but that doesn't mean the margin of error got larger. They shrunk it and were able to persevere through it and able to win. But they shrunk the margin of error. Make no mistake. to do that consistently year after year after year after year, it's not going to result in championship after championship after championship. That's why people are already saying, well, you got to evolve. You got to do this. You got to manage Saquon Barkley. You gotta give him the football less. You got to throw the football more. You already hear all these narratives. They can't just replicate what they did last year. They can try. Might be as simple as Saquon getting hurt after 482
I'm curious to see what it looks like this year, what their approach is going to be. Like, even no, I don't want to project any injuries. What changes this year? Do they go back to trusting the passing game more? Do they need to trust the passing game more? How's it evolve? I'm really curious to see. I know people get mad when we talk about the evolution of the offense, but everything evolves whether we like it or not. If they brought back all the same players, everything was the same this year, it would still evolve. That's how the nature of the beast. How does it evolve this year?
Yeah, I think it's similar to how it started last year, which was they were gung ho on throwing the ball because of the talent they have. And I think it starts similar to last year, maybe a little bit less than last year, because now they know Saquon's impact. But the goal is to get the passing game more effective on a consistent basis. That was the goal last year, till they scaled it back unfairly, in my opinion, and that'll be the goal this year.
And that's simply because they believe that's the best way to win long term.
Yeah, you're trying to increase that margin of error.
Right. We'll see.
And sometimes it'll take care of itself in that, again, you might be in closer games. You might be behind in the fourth quarter where you have to throw the ball, and you want to be able to handle those situations as much as possible. But if there's too many turnovers, this team is very ball security conscious, and
they did have 7 turnovers in the first 4 games last year.
Well, that is a very tough tightrope to walk.
Well, that's why I don't view it exactly the same as you, of that it was unfair. I mean, was the circumstance maybe an overreaction? Yes, but if you do look at the first 4 games, there was the 7 turnovers, and then you look at the games that they won, it was perfect success. Like, I don't know if it was unfair. I just don't think the cookie crumbled the way Hurts.
Well, I think it was a reaction to 2023 because he had the spike in turnovers, which had, again, more to do. And this is the tightrope. Like, I was very confident, and as you know, Jody knows, I would say it all the time. I'm not worried about him turning the football over. His entire career, he's been very ball security conscious. And you had that spike. Why'd you have that spike in 2023? Again, complimentary football. The defense sucked. They were in positions where they had to make plays. You're taking more chances. That results in more turnovers. Now, every turnover is different. It's its own story. Some of them are brutal. I go back to that Jets game. That Jets game one, it was one of the worst plays in Jalen Hurts' career. I still don't know what he was doing in that situation. It was a terrible turnover. There are times he's a little bit loose with the football in the pocket as well. Fumbles a little bit too much. You want to clear that up. But overall, compared to his peers, he's very ball security conscious. Now, last year, after that start you mentioned, coupled on top of what happened in 2023, I think that's where the more panic was. Is this consistent? Is this a trend? And then they became ultra conservative. And I think you need a better balance. And sometimes the situation of the game will take care of that because you have to take more chances. Last year it didn't because they're dominated. so they could afford to be ultra conservative. They probably can't afford to be ultra conservative. So probably as much, I'm going to say Jalen Hurts has a worse season from a turnover standpoint because he'll be forced to make more plays and forced to take more chances. But overall, he'll be a better quarterback.
I think that's fair. I mean, if you throw the ball more, yeah, you might have a little bit more turnovers.
Well, yeah, but people, as simple as that sounds, as logical as that sounds, people have a tough time understanding that.
Right, but I mean, 5 turnovers last year with the amount they threw the ball. If that number goes to 9 or 10, I think you live with it and you're good with it. If it goes to 14, yeah, now we're getting in Dak Prescott range. We don't want to get too many turnovers. Not Dak Prescott.
That's what I mean. Dak had one season. Dak's the exact same story. Always very ball security.
He wasn't the right example. I'm just saying we don't want to get to a range where it's too high to live with, and you have to scale back. If you're throwing 25% more and your turnovers gradually increase because of that, I don't think that's an issue at all. I think it's just the nature of the beast.
Yeah, but I think there's a lot of people who are not going to understand that, to be honest. And they'll just see the black and white turnover stat, and people will, you know how people are. You have people who are going to grift and people who are going to, or not even grift, people who just don't understand it in the media, and they will play it up like it's this crazy thing. I mean, yes, the Eagles won the Super Bowl. All right. So everything's copacetic and everybody gets mad when we bring up some of the issues. Great. But there's a give and take to everything in life. There's an unintended consequence to everything in life. And when you play that conservatively, you're taking something away from another area. So, yes, he had 5 interceptions, but he only threw the ball 361 times versus 538 the year prior because the defense sucked.
Yeah, last year was his least amount of attempts by far, kind of 360 last year. Even his first year starting, he had 432.
Yeah, and you'll notice that his interception percentage when he was a runner-up to be MVP in 2022 was even better than last year. And they had a better, that was his best season. That was his best personal season.
Yeah, 22, right? Yeah.
By far. He was legitimately the runner-up MVP. He was literally and that's where he belonged. He was that good. That was his best personal season. And he was actually even better from an interception percentage standpoint, even though he threw the football 100 more times, somewhere in that range. So yeah, that's a tough one. And I think people understand that when your defense is as bad as it was in 2023, they realized that, well, Jalen Hurts, all right, well, let me look it up. So 4th year starter last year. This will be his 5th year as a starter. He's thrown it 432 times, 460 times, 538 times, and 361 last year. There's 2 outliers there in 4 years. There's the high of 538 and the low last year of 361. 1 year, he had the worst passing defense in the NFL he was dealing with. The other year is dealing with the best running game in Eagles history and the number 1 defense. Now, if you can replicate number 1 defense and 2,504 yards, you might as well run it back. Is that realistic?
Right.
Is that realistic though?
No, it's not. It's not.
So,
Or at least it's very far fetched.
yeah. So, you know,
I guess there were, and people are going to get mad at me for saying this, but I'm really just trying to advance the conversation and maybe play devil's advocate a little bit. You could look at that and say the outlier on the bottom when Jalen was asked to do the least is when the team was most successful. Now, I fall in your camp where it's like, well, the defense was great. The running game was the best it's ever been. And at 22, really, if one play goes different in that game, you're Super Bowl champions. You have a different view of it entirely. So I get that, but people would say that. People would say, look, you take the ball out of Jalen's hands and your team is more successful.
well, you know,
I'm not saying I agree with them, just throwing it out there.
it's such, but again, because people are broken with quarterback evaluation, it always comes down to the quarterback. Like, you can't replicate. What is Buffalo? Give Buffalo 2,504-yard rusher and the #1 defense. Give Baltimore. Give Kansas City. Give whomever you give Cincinnati. Give those quarterbacks that. Would they scale back to the point that the Eagles did? If they were smart, they would. I don't know if they'd be smart enough to do that. So I don't look at it as, look, nobody in the history of football has run for 2,504 yards in an NFL season. Nobody. It's a record. Nobody's done it. There's only one #1 defense every year. Only one.
The Eagles had it.
I mean, why does this not equate into people's thinking? Speaking of, I brought up the Emma. Warren Sharp did a great X for whatever reason. Warren, by the way, is consulted for the Eagles who don't know. He's a analytics guy, I would say. One of the smarter ones in football. And again, the Eagles have always been on the forefront. And it was actually a couple of days ago, but I didn't see it until yesterday. So he's talking about Joe Burrow, and he could sense his frustration about the people who don't know. And I don't think there's a lot of them, but the people that don't know how good Joe Burrow is because of what's been going on in Cincinnati. So this is Warren, and you can check it out at Sharp Football. He did it on July 1st. It's a whole thread. And it was most brutal stat you'll read today. Joe Burrow has been blitzed at the lowest rate of any quarterback the last 4 seasons. But he's been hit within 2.5 seconds of the snap at the highest percentage rate. Blitz the lowest, hit quickest the highest. Burrow's been hit within 2.5 seconds, 25% more than the #2 most hit quarterback in the NFL.
Holy shit. He's got to get out of Cincinnati.
And then, obviously, Warren was on a Joe Burrow kick, and I don't blame him because he's a phenomenal player. So it's very similar to me. It's insane to me, the criticism of Burrow lately. I don't think there's a ton, but there is.
I mean, what? I don't hear people.
There's this weird group, and I talk about it all the time with the quarterback evaluation. His 2.5 seconds to throw is the 4th fastest in the NFL, way above, obviously, the league average. With that #1 lowest blitz rate faced, he's a very quick processor, which I just talked about. That's why I love Joe Burrow. Very quick. He's got the 4th fastest released. He shouldn't get hit often. Yet he's the 1st fastest hit quarterback in the NFL. Why? His offensive line.
Boy,
the Bengals.
That offensive line doesn't read that and say, holy shit, we got to be better. I mean, that is terrible.
the Bengals offensive line, this is a whole thread. It's a great thread. The Bengals offensive line.
Retweet it, I'll look at it.
Yeah, it's the only offensive line to rank 25th or worse in pass block win rate for 4 consecutive seasons. They were 30th in 2021, 30th in 2022, 27th. Last year, they were worst in the NFL, 32nd. So, despite the NFL's worst pass protection, despite the NFL's quickest release pressure faced, Burrow's number 1 in overall completion rate, number 1 in third down completion rate, number 2 in accuracy, number 2 in passer rating, 3rd in touchdown rate, 4th in touchdown to interception ratio, 5th in yards per attempt, 7th in success rate, and 10th in EPA, which is an advanced stat. That's why people like me and people like Warren, even to a bigger extent, like I get on this show, I say, look, Joe Burrow right now is the best quarterback in the NFL. I've said that. Right now at this moment. And people go, you didn't win a Super Bowl. And that's why I say quarterback evaluation is broken. So nobody looks at anything else except what the quarterback did. Jalen Hurts didn't have a lot of turnovers. The year before, he had a lot of turnovers. You think that had something to do with his shitty defense?
100%. 100%, J-Mac.
So, yeah, I mean, people really need to open their eyes on quarterback evaluation. But I know I'm swimming upstream there. But to bring it back in-house, Jalen Hurts is a very good quarterback. The Eagles, he's entering his prime of his career. I thought they were a little bit unfair to him. And yes, he wants to throw the football more. Why wouldn't a quarterback want it? You don't want a quarterback who doesn't want to throw the football more.
Yeah. I think Jalen's going to have a big year this year. I've been projecting him to return close to the top of the MVP. We'll see if that pans out. Last question on Hurts real quick, John. And I'll read you the stats real quick on this. 38, 36, 38. That's the last 3 years of sacks that Jalen Hurts has taken. Any concern on that at all?
No, I mean, he's above where he should be typically. All dual threat quarterbacks are.
Yeah, I think you got to factor in the attempts on this too, right? Like 538 attempts last year and 36 snaps versus 361 attempts, 2 years ago.
I mean, but always guys who hold on to the football more are going to get sacked more.
Right.
So
but you don't want to get rid of that because that's part of what makes you a great player.
Yeah. You don't want to take away, as Nick Sirianni would say, you don't want to take away his superpower. So that's a give and take. But always, and that's every dual threat quarterback, they are going to get sacked more than, especially guys with quick releases. Poor Joe Burrow. But, Phillip Rivers with Nick Sirianni talks about him all the time. Guys like that, Matthew Stafford, who get rid of the football on time. Guys who extend plays, go off schedule a lot, they're going to take a lot of sacks. But Jalen's in a very comfortable category versus somebody like Caleb Williams, who was sacked 1 million times, even though he might be the best athlete of all at the quarterback position. Well, probably Lamar, but you get the point. That's just nature of it. The dual threat guys are going to hold on to the football and they're going to be susceptible to taking more sacks, which conversely is one of the reasons why you have to look at each sack individually.
Yes, agreed.
They are not all created equally.
Nope. Agreed 100%. Good stuff there. Johnny Mack on the quarterback. I wanted to talk a little receiver. We can do that as well. Let me rattle off a couple of our great super chats. I want to thank all you guys for being here. Got a great crowd in here, John, the day before the 4th of July. I tried to break out the red, white, and blue. I got white, I got red, and I got blue. I did the best I could. All right. So bear with me, everybody. Appreciate y'all being here. Hit the like button. We got some people in here that I haven't seen in a little bit. It's good to have you all in here. Hi, Dom is in here. He's back. Who else did I see? I saw my boy Niall. Where's my boy Niall?
Is that Don DeSandro?
We back. There he is. So we got a couple of our Come on back, everybody. Appreciate y'all being here. Hit the like button for us. Alfredo checking in. What's up, Alfredo? Alfredo's been tweeting at me. All right. He didn't like my take the other day about CD Lamb being better than Devontae Smith. He didn't like that at all. He says Saquon can get 2K flat post and regular season. I think that's actually not a crazy.
I don't think it's crazy if he's healthy and the Eagles make a deep run, which they probably
say they go to the NFC title game, and they have 3 playoff games. I don't think that's nuts.
No.
It's good. It's a big number, but I think it's realistic.
It's got to be healthy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got to be healthy. Obviously, that's baked in.
Yeah. Saquon's going to be interesting from the standpoint of just what those touches did to him, because that's a significant workload. And 482 with another 482. Is it possible? Sure, anything's possible. Keeps himself in great shape. Seems to understand he's got to manage himself.
Yeah. Like you said, I like that he's really a student of the game. He understands that.
Yeah. Best offensive line in the NFL, even without Mekhi Becton. Yeah, he can get to 2,000.
We'll see. Dank Bird Gang followed up on his previous super about D'Lo Brown. He said, just a little dark humor. Bless him and his family. Dank, I know you're
anytime you have that type of – boy, there's a lot of deaths in pro wrestling for people that don't understand over the years. A lot.
Scary business.
Yeah. Way more than certainly professional football. Now, there's a lot of tragedy in football at lower levels, which is sad always. But, yeah, when you do dangerous things, bad things can happen.
Yep, absolutely. Sasha R checking in. What's up, Sasha? Hope you're doing well, brother. He says, who's the Rock to Cena referencing to 2002 Hogan versus Rock? I'll be rocking my all-pro RWB B-Doc jersey tomorrow. Safe and happy 4th to you all. Wait a second, John. RWB B-Doc jersey. What does that mean? Reebok? What's he talking about?
I don't know. RWB B-Doc.
RWB.
I don't know.
Is that like a red, white, and blue jersey or something?
Oh, maybe. There we go. You got it. Red, white, and blue. Oh, he's got red, white, and blue B-Dog.
You spelled it.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know they had red. I haven't seen a red, white, and blue.
I've never seen it either. What's his look like? The only red, white, and blue Eagles jersey I have in that closet right there, this is funny, is Carson Wentz Pro Bowl.
There we go.
In that closet. Red, white, and blue.
Should give that away. Carson Wentz.
I should give that away. You think anybody would want that thing?
They should. I maybe people will, as Carson retires and goes away and recedes into the background. He's a big part of this first Super Bowl in this team's history. Doesn't get enough credit for that. As for the wrestling question, Rock to Cena referencing 2002 Hogan versus Rock. I mean, that was the young guy taking over for the legend. I don't see that as Cody. Cody's like 40 years old. So Cena's obviously the legend in this category. I mean, I think the next superstars, I hate saying his name, the most, I think it's the worst name in the history of wrestling because he's so good. Braun Breaker, I think, is a stupid name, especially because he's the son of Rick Steiner, and Scott Steiner's his uncle for wrestling fans. His real name is Bronson Rex Steiner. Braun. I don't know why they can't call him Braun Steiner, but to me, he's the next big star. I hate the name. But he's a heel right now. Seen as a heel. That doesn't work. And Cody's going to get it back at SummerSlam, which is in East Rutherford, New Jersey, MetLife Stadium this year. But yeah, I don't think they're ready to pull the trigger on the young guy versus the legend. But to me, it should be Braun. He should be the next guy.
We'll see what ends up happening with the wrestling. I got to figure out what this Dawkins jersey is. Sasha, if you're in the chat, which I think you still are, you got to take a look at this. All right. John, is this the one he's talking about here? What are we looking at here? Is it this one? No, not that. This one, I guess.
Maybe.
Is that the one we're talking about? That one in the top right there? The Dawkins red, white, and blue. That's a fire jersey, Sasha, if that's what you're looking at.
It's got to be Pro Bowl, right?
Yeah, it's Pro Bowl. I would imagine it's a Pro Bowl. Yeah. I would imagine.
They don't make. Why? By the way, why doesn't the NFL do that? I'm surprised they don't.
Yep, there you go. Sasha said yes. That's it. There you go, baby. There you go. That's a nice jersey. I like that one, Sasha. Good pick. Good pick, and a nice 4th of July wear for represent some Eagles on the 4th of July. I love that.
Yeah, Pro Bowl.
I'm gonna find this Carson Wentz jersey. I'm doing it on Zander time. Once we end the show, I'm gonna get in that closet and find this Wentz jersey. That thing might be buried deep, but I'm sure. Wait, you might have seen it before at the Screwballs. No, Krause used to break it out all the time.
I don't think I've seen it. I don't. He must have not tracked it.
What have been the jersey he asked you to put on one time?
No, that was an Eagles jersey. Yeah, it ain't happening. Sorry, people. I don't know why people can't understand that. I don't know.
Sasha, wearing that in the streets of Washington, D.C. How about that for a little 4th of July love?
Yeah, the Commanders fans are already upset. The Eagles fans are tweaking the Commanders fans too much. So
the Commanders fans are talking crazy, man. They're like, it's like, all right, you guys came to the party for the first time in 25 years. It's like, all right.
I mean, I have some. I mean, they went through a lot.
I don't care.
So to have any optimism, you can imagine if you had 20 plus years of Daniel Snyder.
Yeah, they're talking like their shit doesn't stink, though, John. Yeah, 1 year. Yeah, you came to the party for 1 year. All right, let's see what you can do further.
Hey,
okay.
I'm the one during the NFC Championship game. I said they're not ready for this. They're not.
You were on that.
Eagles fans were hemming and hawing. I'm like, come on.
Did you predict the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl though before the Super Bowl or no? You had the Eagles,
no,
right?
I picked the Eagles. Yeah,
it was close. I remember Jeff Kerr.
I was close. Yeah.
I
didn't expect him to.
Yeah, I didn't either. I forget what my prediction was. I think it was
but I said the Eagles were the better team. I was really on the Vic Fangio Spags bandwagon. It disgusted me that Eagles fans thought they didn't have the advantage at defensive coordinator. Disgusted me. It really did.
You really are Fangio true. You love Vic Fangio.
It really did.
He's like your Ben Van Sumeren of coaches.
I don't know whether Ben. I like Ben personally, but Ben's a backup player. I just thought that
he's backup. You can break your mold, John. You're a Ben Van Sumeren guy. I know it.
Oh, I love Ben, but I would say again, my buddy Andrew DeCecco, he's more of the BBS guy. He loves Ben.
Does he?
I like Ben personally. Great dude. Good special teams player. Did a great job in like 22 snaps at fullback last year before he got hurt. But I mean, I've never said he was going to be like a star or anything. He's a very good athlete, though. Very good athlete.
Yeah. My official prediction on the Super Bowl was 27-24. That's what I put out publicly. And some
I don't remember. I remember thinking it was going to be a close game. I'm 99% sure I picked the Eagles.
Yeah, I think you did pick the Eagles. I'll probably put it up somewhere. I'd have to go and look for it.
I didn't pick the Eagles in the first one. Kansas City, but they were clearly the more talented team last year. Yeah, and they proved it.
Clearly. I mean, that was domination. I just don't. I feel like this team has a chance to be dominating again, but I understand you know, as an
I'm,
odds guy.
I'm at the point that they beat them so badly that I think Kansas City is probably worse than they're going to be.
It's funny. You and Sills are both predicting that. Cilio is predicting the Chargers win that division for the first time in 9 years.
Yeah, I'm more of a Chargers than a Broncos guy as well. I'm going to have to revisit that if Dan thinks that. I'm just kidding, Dan.
Nah, Sills.
But I'm more of a Chargers guy than that because a lot of people are on the Broncos bandwagon. But the Eagles destroyed Kansas City to the point where, you know, watching that game there live, I'm like, this is ridiculous. This is a descending team getting exposed. And it's probably more that the Eagles brought their A game and just played phenomenally. And they're still good. The Chiefs I'm talking about. But boy, being there live and watching that, I lost a lot of respect for the Chiefs.
Yeah. You're off on Big Sills too, by the way. You're pulling out the snippets, the headlines. He does a 4-hour show every day. You know what I mean? He knows football. I mean, yeah.
Well, he played. I'm not saying he doesn't know football, but yeah, I was just a little tweet.
Yeah, I got you.
I'm more the Chargers guy as well over the Broncos.
He likes Harbaugh. That's what he likes. Vulnerable says, got my Eagles flags up. $20, by the way. Thank you, Vulnerable. Love you, brother. Appreciate it, man. Got my Eagles flags up. Green colored fireworks purchased. Loudspeaker loaded for Fly Eagles Fly on repeat for my Chief fan neighborhood. I don't think they heard it enough during the Super Bowl. Go Birds and happy 4th, Jacob.
Now, unfortunately, my dog passed away. Now, I would hate the 4th of July because of my dog.
Yeah, John, so true. My dog passed this year, too. That's such a good point by you. My dog hated fireworks.
Yeah. Well, all dogs do because they have the increased sense of hearing.
I don't know. It's an interesting story here about dogs. My girlfriend does.
Oh, I got a cat.
She's been doing seeing eye. You know what seeing eye is? The seeing eye dogs. It's basically a program.
I know what seeing eye dogs are. Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically a program that they give a dog to a blind person and it helps them out. So what they do is they have families and people raise them for the first year of their life before they put them into training and give them to whoever they fit with. And she's done 8 of them. So, but one of the things they have to have is they can't react to fireworks. They can't react to anything, thunder, fireworks, any of those things. And I'm like, geez, I've never had a dog not react to fireworks.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah, it's one of those things that they got to be perfectly trained. There's perfect. Everything's got to be perfect. Those dogs.
Yeah, but I'm for people who know, people watch the show. I'm a big dog guy, so I always lean on the side of the dogs. So I'm not a big fireworks person.
Vulnerable. That's a nice little thing you got set up though, man. Enjoy it. Have fun, man. Some green flags, green fireworks, green everything out in Missouri. All right. I love it, Vitality. Thank you, brother, for checking in. Thank you for the super chat. Johnny Mac, what are you grilling up tomorrow? Anything? Any idea? You going ribs? You going meat? You going hot dogs and hamburgers? What do you got?
I've heard some whispers of ribs. I think it's going to be more conventional burgers, hot dogs, but we'll see. We'll still, again, Nick Sirianni might as well be giving me my schedule because I'm getting it late, but I'm used to it.
I might have to send an email to Mrs. McMullen. This guy has to deal with this with the Eagles enough. Come on, you got to get him the schedule a couple days in advance.
That's part of the problem too. So close circuit to Nick, who's like 2 towns over from me. Come on, get the schedule to me quicker. I gotta prepare. So both ends of the spectrum.
I gotta grill something. I don't know exactly what to grill yet either, but that's not on anybody else but me. We'll see what ends up happening for the 4th of July. But all right, John, good stuff, man. Great week of shows this week, and we'll wrap it up today. We're obviously no show tomorrow with the 4th of July coming. So I hope everybody has a great 4th of July. Pretty good week though, John. We had a good conversations with all of our guests this week. John, a guy I want to get back is Oscar. I liked Oscar. I want to make him a more, maybe not a weekly, but a more consistent guest. We'll
get Oscar back. Oscar, everybody loves Oscar.
Yeah, he's a good dude. I liked him.
Yeah. Very good dude. And as things will pick up closer to training camp. People in my industry are going on vacation as well. So, but March is on. We're getting closer and closer.
What are we, 19 days away from when they report, 20 days away from when they're on the football field. It's happening quick. It's coming quick. Who it will be the camp story this year, John?
Boy, I think it's kind of boring, to be honest, because they're so good. The defense will be the story, though. I mean, there's some legitimate competition.
Is it Ringo?
Well, I think Ringo's, got the advantage. I think Makuba's got the advantage, but I think both of those are pretty legitimate competitions. And then there's some, Jeremiah Trotter Jr. I don't think that's a competition until the other guys get healthy and ready to go. I think that's his job. I think it's more about the split at defensive tackle. How do you split Milton Williams's reps? Than one guy taking that over. It'll be part Jordan Davis, part Moro Jomo. And then, I kind of brought it up this week. The Ty Robinson default setting. I wouldn't sleep on Thomas Booker. I think that too many people have declared that as something that's going to happen. But way more interesting stuff on defense than offense. Offense is just locked in.
Well, this is my question I'll leave everybody with into the 4th of July weekend on offense that I think is very real. How much leash does Kevin Patullo have? And what I mean is Brian Johnson was fired with the 8th-ranked offense in football because the expectation on the team was Super Bowl or bust, basically. Now you have that expectation again coming in. If the passing game is still bottom 10 in the league and they don't win the Super Bowl, is Kevin Patullo blown out? What kind of leash is on Kevin Patullo this year? I don't think it's as big as people think.
Well, I'll tell you the interesting part. Everybody's under the same leash. I mean, the expectation leash. And again, to me,
some people are easier to scapegoat than others.
Well, that's the thing. That's the interesting part. If you want to go down that route, because Nick Sirianni is much closer to Kevin Patullo. So Nick Sirianni will fight for Kevin Patullo. Like we talked about the political nature. Nick's better at politics than Doug was when it came to these scapegoating situations. I don't think Nick wanted to fire Brian Johnson, but the reality is Jeffrey and Jeffrey decided something needed to be done. If that same situation's happened, that's going to be interesting because Nick will fight for Kevin Patullo.
That's true. We'll see how it all shakes out. Johnny Mac, your final thoughts on this Thursday edition. No show tomorrow, brother.
Well, my final thought is in relation to that. It's not going to happen. You might have the 8th-ranked offense again, but you're not going to have the worst passing off defense in the NFL. Might not be nearly.
What about
as
passing
good.
offense?
Well, that to me is, they were 8th.
If the defense isn't as good, they're probably going to have to score more points, right? But that
Exactly.
Points,
So
probably going to have to pass the ball more.
I'm saying the offense might be the same. They might not be better. They might even be a little bit worse, but it's not going to look as bad because the defense isn't going to be as bad. The reason it looks so bad to people in 2023 is because of the defense. Even during the collapse, it becomes revisionist history in that there were some during the collapse. So they lost 7 of 8 games, including the playoffs. There were some good offensive games in that 7 in that 8-game period. There were some good offensive games, but the defense was so bad. Now there were not great offensive games as well. It all started with San Francisco and Dallas, the consecutive blowouts. But they rebounded a bit against the Giants and the Cardinals. They scored 33 points against the Giants and 31 points against the Cardinals. The offense wasn't nearly as bad as the defense, but the assumption is, and then you get to the playoffs, everything was bad. But by the playoffs, you had all the injuries. No AJ. Who else missed that game? I get it conflated with I know AJ missed that game. Reed missed that game. I think there was another key injury that guys got hurt late in the season. But so that gets conflated. That was really a defensive collapse more than an offensive collapse. But it gets all mixed in.
Yeah, agreed. Johnny Mac, great week of shows, brother. We will catch you Monday. Enjoy the day off tomorrow. Enjoy 4th of July with you, your family, whoever you're spending it with. We appreciate you here, Johnny Mac. We'll catch you Monday, brother.
All right. Happy 4th, everybody. Enjoy it.
All right. See you, Johnny Mac. There's Johnny Mac joining us here on Birds 365. Great show today with Johnny Mac to wrap up the week. 4th of July, everybody. Hope everybody has a great 4th of July. Appreciate you all being here for me today and for us today, helping the show grow. Hit that like button, hit that comment button, comment down below, hit that share button. Tell a friend, everybody, about Birds 365. If you think they would like Eagles content day in and day out, let them know. I'll take some comments from the chat. I do want to look if I have that. Let me look at that. Let me see if I have that Carson Wentz Pro Bowl jersey. I think I got it. Give me 1 second. I think it's buried back here. Oh, no. Might not be. No, I don't, but nope, I don't have it in there. I thought I did. The only jersey I got in there is because I don't wear other men's names on my back. I got a Krause Phillies jersey. So whenever I go to the Phillies game, that's what I wear. I don't wear other men's names on my back. It's just weird to me. It's just my take, all right? Nobody else has to have that take. I'll be giving away a bunch of jerseys because I know everybody loves them. All right. But no, I don't have the jersey in there. I thought I did. It's somewhere in this house, though. I know that. It's somewhere in this house. I know that. All right. What's everybody got going on for 4th of July? Anything good? Anything good going on for the 4th of July in your guys' world? Who's grilling up? That's what I want to know. Who's getting the grill out? Izzy B, are you getting the grill out? I don't see that. I don't see that. I wear logo, polos, and hats. That's Slagger. I'm kind of with you, man. I'm kind of with you. I got the Eagles polo in there. You know, I had the jacket, the jacket I wore for the parade. I love that. Zander burning all the steak tomorrow. Fred, I know burn steak. Fred, I told you, I'm not a kitchen guy. I'm not a kitchen guy, but I can grill. I can grill. In fact, I am the designated griller in this family of mine. If there's a grill up and working and needed, I am the designated griller. And let me tell you, I've never disappointed. Am I the kind of guy that looks like I would disappoint on the grill? Holy shit, Wolfie Wolf. Where are you, dude? 110 degrees. What is it where I am? Wolfie Wolf, you got to be out west somewhere. It's 79 where I am right now. Going up to 86 today. Whew, hot. Boy, pretty good weekend, though. I got 4 days of sunshine here for the 4th of July. How about that? How about that? Holy moly. Down the shore, you got 4 days of sunshine. Anybody down the shore? Anybody down to the Jersey Shore? It's unfortunately depressing for us that we're not down there, that I'm not down there, but it's all good. I can live. Anybody going to the Jersey Shore? Izzy B, I'm not sure what I'm making yet. I haven't been told. Those are decisions that are way beyond my purview. If you got meat and you let me know what I got to do to see, I'll season it up and make it happen. But I'm not picking the meal for the family. That's not how it works. Now, I got an Italian mother. That ain't how it works over here. I don't got to pick. Kodir, excellent hat selection. Thanks, bro. Appreciate it. Master Eagle, what's up? You guys in the green fireworks, guys? I am not a firework guy. Like, I like them. I'll go and watch them with the 4th. I do not set off my own fireworks, and I don't have any interest in doing it. Like I used to, when I was at school at Alabama, we would come back from Christmas break, and all these dudes, like the guys who lived in Georgia and Tennessee, down south, I guess there's these huge fireworks stores on the highways down south. If you've ever been down south, you know what I'm talking about. You get off like this random exit on the highway, and there's this huge fireworks store. And kids used to come back with truckloads of fireworks, like thousands of dollars worth of fireworks. And I'm like, really? Like, is that what you want to spend your money on? I don't know. It's not what I would spend my money on. Maybe for the 4th of July, I understand it, but this was regular time of the year. Always interesting. Always interesting. Arizona, Wolfie, got you, brother. That's that dry heat out there, man. They have that here too, Z. Yeah, I don't see them as much, Jason. They are definitely here, but down south, Jason, I'm telling you, drive from Alabama to Tennessee. You'll see these huge fireworks spots. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. Jason, I got a townhouse in Rehoboth Beach. That's the plan. Jason, that's awesome, brother. Enjoy your stay over in Rehoboth, man. You got to get down there. Are you a weekender or what, Jason? Do you go there on the weekends? What's your setup? South of the border on the North Carolina, South Carolina border on the way to Florida. Yeah, they're everywhere. All right, Dank, I won't read it. Ray says, I'm down to spend at most $50 on fireworks. Yeah, I'm not a firework guy, man. Jason, you're from Texas? Jason, I didn't know this. You're from Texas? I lived in Texas for 2 years. Xander, Wolfie can grill on the sidewalk with his temps. That's pretty funny. Savard. Drake for checking in. So you know Al Thompson, he's always at Philadelphia Eagles training camps, conferences, and in the locker room. He was at the Super Bowl. I know him and Dr. Bruce. I know Dr. Bruce. I don't know if I know Al. Dr. Bruce is great. I know Dr. Bruce well. Dr. Bruce does Dr. Bruce does a lot of stuff for my family, man. He really does. He did big surgery on my mother a couple years ago. Stem cells, yeah. So so Dr. Bruce is awesome, man. Great guy. Yeah, for anybody that's watched our post-game shows in the past, not last year, but a couple years ago, Dr. Bruce was a frequent guest on the shows. Shady says, I'd rather have a cabin in the mountains than a house on the beach. Shady, I can't agree with you there, but I will say the one thing I love out west. Now it's because I grew up skiing, so my grandma, when I was a kid, that was like the big gift she gave everybody for Christmas. All the cousins, she would send us, not out west, but we would drive to like Vermont. And then as I grew older and I started making my own money, I decided that I wanted to go out west. So I've gone to Colorado, Utah, Montana, all those different places just to ski. It's incredible out there. I want to visit out there in the summer at some point, but Zeal says, I lived in Houston for 8 years. Don't miss the traffic or the heat, but enjoyed it otherwise. I didn't hate it, Zeal. My problem with it, Zeal, was I was the brokest I've ever been in my life. I was making, I've told this story before. I was living with my brother. He was getting his PhD at the time from Rice University. I tell you guys, my brother's just a very smart guy. He didn't never finish to start his company now, but he was making, I want to say like $25,000 a year from Rice to get his PhD. He was on a scholarship. And then he was getting his GI Bill from the Army National Guard. And I was making probably $1,500 a month, maybe. And I just started. I just left school, just started my business. I lived there for the first 2 years after college. So I was still like getting my feet wet, basically in the real world. I was probably making $1,500 a month, and we split rent. Rent was about 2 G's, and it was about $1,000 a month for me. So I had like 500 extra bucks on food, everything, food, phone, everything, gas, you name it. We split the car bill. We shared a car at the time. We had a what do we have? What do we have? Volkswagen Tiguan, I think we leased. Yeah, good times though. But if I had a little more money in my pocket, I would have done some more of the activities that people do in Houston. I didn't have much money though. I didn't have barely a plug nickel to my name. Drakeford says, Xander, really? Wow, it's good to know. I'm glad to hear about the surgery going well. Interesting. And I'll let Al Thompson know about you in the show. Drakeford, thank you, brother. Appreciate it, man. Just a personal preference. Shady, all good. All right, man. I appreciate all of you guys. That's a rough say. I can't. Jason, being broke is a good thing to have in your life every once in a while. All right. Maybe like once I'm done, I'd like to be done forever. Trying to get there. Oh, I got something to tell you. Who has been following along on me wanting to get a new car? Who's been following along? If you don't care for my new car search, then you can leave. All right. I don't care. Enjoy your 4th of July. Thanks for being here. I'll catch you next time. But for those who have listened to me ramble about getting a new car, I test drove a car last night. My truck is not crappy, as you be. My truck is not crappy. But for those who've been listening, I test drove a car last night. The Zander car search, Big Mike. I test drove a car. And let me tell you, this motherfucker is beautiful. This motherfucker is beautiful. Nah, not an M Series. My brother's got an M Series. I like BMW, but it's not. Wouldn't be my first choice. Not a Tesla. I'm not buying a Tesla. I'm not buying a Tesla, guys. I don't like them. I don't think they look that good. Stick with truck, Wolfie says. Nah, I'm getting rid of my truck. Wolfie, I can drive a truck forever. Get married and have kids. I have a truck forever. I've had the truck for 31 months. Nope, not a Mustang. I didn't go Mustang. So my mom works at a car dealership. She's worked there for 25 years. One of the biggest car dealerships in the area, Fred Beans. And I was up there test driving this sucker last night. Now that is a C8 Corvette. It's not a Z06. It's just a Stingray. It's just a Stingray. It's just a Stingray. But that's what I was test driving last night. I don't know how I feel about the white, though. Oh, shit. I messed up my camera with the phone. There we go. That's what I was test driving last night. That motherfucker clean, man. I mean, there's your boy Big Z sitting in it. Oh! I don't know, though. What do you guys think of the white? It's white. That's a Zio. I'm like, Zio, here's the thing about me, too. I would buy a truck in color. I would buy a regular car in a color. I'm going to buy a Corvette in white? Like I don't know. I don't know. You got to know. You got a Z06, Mac? Oh! Man, those Z06s are crazy. How about the ZR1s coming out? Did you see those? The ZR1 and the ZR1X? No, I don't want to wrap it, though, Twiz. Then you're getting into, I'm adding a bunch of money to the car. I'm getting an incredible deal. It's only got 6,000 miles on it. It was garage kept. I'm telling you, I'm very picky about used cars. Like, I baby my cars. I care a lot. The reason I'm considering this car is because I'm telling you, I could have licked the door sills. This thing was, first off, the guy ordered an indoor car cover from factory. So I'm pretty sure this car, and this is the way it looked, was garage kept under a cover. Like that's how meticulous this used car was. Because I do not like buying, especially these muscle cars, sports cars. I don't want to buy it, or I want to know exactly what happened with the car. You know, people buy these, they beat the shit out of them, they use them for content, whatever the case may be. This car was immaculate. It's white. It's white. It's the only thing that I'm struggling with on it. 6,000 miles on it. You'll be the only guy under 50 to have one. I don't really care. Those stupid stereotypes don't bother me. I don't give a shit. Yeah, Tony, your spec on your Corvette is masterful. I love the Hysteria Purple. I love the Hysteria Purple. That's one of my favorites. Yeah, there's no carbon fiber trim on this one, Izzy B. So the other one I'm looking at, which it does hide the dirt good. Fredo, I work too hard to not enjoy my car. All right, I work my balls off too hard, man. I gotta enjoy my car. What's the point of working my ass off if I don't treat myself here and there? So I got something for my girl recently, and now I got something for I'm gonna get something for me. There you go. Get something for your girl, you get something for me. Supercharger, I probably won't be putting a supercharger in it. I agree. White is actually less work than black. You ever owned a black? Izzy B, you ever owned a black car? Oh my God. I mean, I take the car up the street. I got brake dust. That shows everything. A black car shows everything. What am I going to do in the winter? I'm going to drive the C8. I'm going to get myself a pair of all-season tires, and I'm going to drive the C8. I'm not worried about it. I watched the video. Some dude drove it all winter in Michigan, and it worked fine. They're actually, Big Mike, despite the impractical nature of a C8, which is only 2 seats and no back seat, they are actually pretty good. White is a great color, and it's really great for accents. All right, now let me show you the other one I'm looking at, though. Let me show you the other one I'm looking at. Because, honestly, the other one I'm looking at is a comparable deal. I'm getting a great price on both of these cars. I'm not paying probably what you guys think I'm paying. And I'm getting great value on my truck. So I've owned my truck for 31 months. If I get out of it for right now, my total cost of ownership in 31 months on my truck would be 11 grand. 11 grand in 31 months. Do that math. Somebody do that math. All right. Now let me show you the other one I'm working on. Now this, all right, this is more your boy Big Z, okay? But the other one is at my mom's shop, so she's got me the connections with the GM. She's getting me all the extended warranty, all of that stuff. My mom has worked there for 25 years. She knows the ins and outs. Now this is the picture of the other one. It's Elkhart Blue. Now, I know this picture is not as good because this is from detail, but that's what I'm doing. Twiz, what do you think I'm doing, Twizzler? Come on, Twiz. Obviously, that's what I'm doing. Obviously, that's what I'm doing. So, that's the blue. Kind of not focusing, but the blue has... So the blue has the engine appearance package. So it's got like the red engine, and it's got black interior, but it's got red accents. It's got red seat belts, and it's got red stitching. Yeah, it is a discontinued blue, which I kind of like. It's a little bit more rare. That is clean. Izzy likes the white over the blue. Fredo likes the blue better. Let me pull up another picture of it. This is it when it got to the lot. Before they put it in detail. Before they put it in the detail shop. There you go. There's it. Got the black accents. This is a 3LT. 3LT, Tony. It's got the front lift. It's got the Z51. It's got the mag ride suspension. It's got the what are they called? The G2 bucket seats. This has every option, this blue one. The white's a 2LT. It's got the Z51, but it doesn't have the front lift package. So I'm torn right now. I'm a little torn. That's too pimped out, Primo says. Dude, Primo, come on, man. I'm not a vanilla guy, man. I'm not a vanilla guy. I'm not. Look at me. I'm wearing a fucking bright blue Kango right now. Do I look like the type of dude to buy a white Corvette? Here, you want to see the white again? There's the white from a different angle. The white is hot. The white is hot. White with the black accents. Yeah, Sioka. They have the blue one. Tony, they got the blue one. So you're going to need lift. I know, man. I know. That's what I'm worried about with the white one. Doesn't have the front lift. Shady says, I have no opinion. Neither one's for me. They're not going to be for most people, brother. But I like nice cars. I like sports cars. You do work at Sioka? Nice, Rashid. Look, this is the interior of the let me show you the interior of the white one. That's the interior on the white one. That's the interior on the white one. Pretty freaking sick. Like really sick. Now this is the interior on the blue one. I don't know why my camera's so messed up. That's the interior on the blue one. Oreo interior. Yeah, it's true. It's nice. Sioka Chevy and AC. Nice, bro. White one with white wheels, man. I can't do that. I got white wheels. Although I will say this. It is this big fad nowadays, like black wheels. Like everybody wants black wheels. It's like everybody wants black wheels. Yeah, the white one has black calipers, which are kind of hot because all the black accents. But Easy B, this is my issue. My brother likes that. Like he ordered an M3 from factory. He got black with black interior with black calipers. That's his order from factory. Mine would be the opposite. Give me the bright color calipers. Give me all of that. How's the front space? It's fine, Twiz. Good enough for me, man. Good enough for me pre-kids. I got no kids right now. It's just me and my girl. Like she loves it. She's like, get it. I want you to get it. You deserve it. You work hard. So I don't know. I'm kind of torn. Those are my options right now. And I might expand the options depending on how I feel. Yeah, black is kind of meh. I'm with you. I'm black. It's kind of meh. I think they look better. Now, Tyler, I like the C7, but I'm a C8 guy for sure. Front lift, not that big. See, this is good because SmackDown, you have one. So that's kind of what I'm looking for. Somebody that has one. How important is that front? Tony, do you have the front lift on yours, dude? Because that's really, I can live with the 2LT in the white. I'm fine with the 2LT, especially because of how clean the car is and how perfect condition it is. But the front lift kind of has me slowing down in terms of, I don't know. It might be one of those things that you're riding around a low Corvette. It's nice to have that front lift. Yeah, you got front lift. I'm sure it's clutch, right, Tony? Front lift is important. Neither are convertible. They're both the coupe, but the top comes off on both of them. It's that all Corvettes, the top comes off on the C8. But you can get I would get a convertible if I could, but I haven't found one in my price range. The other thing I lose if I get the blue one is I have a bunch of auto rewards points at Fred Beans because my mom works there and I bought all my cars there. So I could get like probably another $1 to $2 grand in auto rewards points, which is significant. You don't understand how perfect I'll keep it. I'm like so weird about this shit. Like I'm like my Saturdays fly Eagles fly when I'm off. I'll just be out there cleaning my car. Garage day, clean the car. I am going to put an exhaust on it. I got to put an exhaust on it. I need a little more pop. Oh yeah, that's right. The Corvette, you can't see the engine. So SmackDown with the I don't know yet, Izzy, but I haven't looked the right exhaust because the one thing I don't want to do is I don't want to change the sound of the Corvette by putting an exhaust on it. I want to accentuate the sound of the Corvette. I don't want to change the way it sounds. I think it sounds amazing from factory, but I like a little bit more. Jason, I'm the polar opposite of that person. I take very good care of my stuff, dude. Well, I've only driven the white one so far. No, it doesn't change it. No, you can get an exhaust that doesn't change it. I'm not trying to change the. No, I mean like there's loud, there's deep, there's raspy. Like I don't want to change that. I don't know. I'm torn. I'll tell you that much. I'm very torn on it. Rashid, I'll let you know. I don't know what to do. We'll see. We'll see what ends up happening, everybody. Blue or white? Who knows? SmackDown, I'm kind of leaning blue, man. Yo, Fredo, do you do ceramic coating? Because I do want to get it coated. I would even think about PPF. I would think about PPF too. So the blue one I think has what calipers does the blue one have? I think it's got black calipers too. Yeah, it does. I don't love the black calipers, but I can live with it. Yeah, I mean, I'm not there yet to order one from factory in terms of pricing. Just haven't gotten there yet. So I'm gonna have to. There's some things I'm gonna have to live with. You know, that's part of buying a used car. You take what they get. You take what you got. But I love fucking these Corvettes, man. I'll tell you what, these Corvettes, they nailed it. Chevrolet nailed it. I'm not a Chevy guy in terms of like trucks and stuff. I hated the GMC truck I had, but Shady says, here's my opinion. Cowboys wear blue, Eagles wear white on the road. Shady, I love you. I'm sorry, but I'm not factoring that in. Cowboys don't own the color blue. What, I can't wear this hat now either? Come on, man. The Cowboys don't own the color blue. White for the interior. The interior in the white is beautiful. ZR1's $175,000, Izzy B. I'm north of $100,000 off. We're not doing that. I'm not waiting for the ZR1. But one day. One day. All right. Look, this is the book. I've been reading the book. I broke out the Stingray book, the Mid-Engine Revolution. They've been working on this car since the inception of Corvettes. The black is hot too, right? How about the black? Black is pretty sick. And a few more legend members ain't gonna cut it. I got Cilio and John on the payroll still. All right. Zander already sold. I was sold previous. I was sold before I called the sales guy. Sales guys don't do shit when you know cars, sales guys don't do shit. I know what I want. Guys are like, oh, there's this. I'm like, I know what you have. I already know what's on the car. I want to know. What I want to know is how perfect the condition is, how it was kept, and whether the owner treated it well or treated it like shit. A lot of these people buy these cars now for like YouTube channels. What they beat the piss out of them. I want a guy who took care of his car from buying a used one. Get a Tundra. No thanks. No thanks, brother. No thanks on a Tundra. On a Tundra. All right, everybody. I'm getting out of here. I appreciate all of you guys for being here. Tony, I'll hit you up on Insta. Big Mike says, why not a Mustang? You're right. My brother said the same thing. He's like, dude, you're a Mustang guy. You love Mustangs. I'm like, yeah, I love Mustangs, but I love Mustangs for what they are. They're cheap, fun cars with a V8 motor. You get into the price range of like what the dark horses are, I'm like, bruh, this Corvette is not, Mustang's not in the same league as a Corvette. They're just not. They're just not in the same league. So, but we'll see. Private party is an interesting option. I did look there, Wolfie. The one thing that stops me from going that road is because I do have the connections at the dealerships. So, but we'll see what ends up happening. All right. We'll see what I do. I'll keep you posted. Maybe I'll have a new car come Monday. I don't think so, though. But thank you all for being here. Thank you all for the support. Thank you all for supporting the work that we put in each and every day. I appreciate each and every one of you. Hit the like button for me. It helps us grow. All right. SmackDown. Where's my boy SmackDown? Tony, I'm already connected with you. SmackDown, you want to email me? Because I like people that own them. I know you've owned these Corvettes. Yeah, if you have any intel or you want to help me out at all, DM me on my Instagram at Zander Krause, on my Twitter at Zander Krause, or you can email me at Zander@JAKIB Media. Hit me up because I like talking to people about it. I got to get some people in the know. So hit me up if you want to discuss. I appreciate y'all. See you next time, everybody. Have a great 4th of July. Love all you guys.
You've been listening to Birds 365, the destination for the passionate Eagles football fan who bleeds green. If it's Eagles football, we're talking about it. Debate inside the locker room and guests that are some of the greatest football minds from around the region. We hope you enjoyed the show. We know we had a blast. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll be back soon. But in the meantime, hook up with us on social media at JAKIB Sports. See you next time on Birds 365.